I wanted to do a quick review of this camper. It's been pretty good. It's been about a year now since we've had this thing. The bed platform is definitely a must. It's kept us dry. It does have some water leaking issues, so when you're in heavy rain, we do get issues with it coming down in this corner, and I can't quite figure out if it's the door sill or a combination of up in there, but we definitely get some water coming in down in the bottom. One of the second issues I have is this gap right here. It continues to move around, and you can see that the bed platform can actually pull down, and that's a little bit dangerous. They don't give you any kind of hook or safety pin to lock this in, and you can see on this side it's starting to gap just a little bit all the way down. And this is after about a year and maybe 10, could be a dozen trips, but I don't think it's quite that many. Functionally, everything's been working on the camper, and you know, you can get in here and walk around, and it's really nice. You know, it'll shelter you from the rain, aside from getting, and it rained last night, and you can see there's some moisture. So not sure on the water part of it, but the frame thing we've got to figure out, because you can't have a gap here. But they don't have anything that holds these two pieces from, you know, squishing together. Let me reframe that. We need something that holds them from stretching apart. We need them to stay together. And all I can figure is maybe the bed mattress is on here and you're rolling over at night, and maybe the aluminum catches and pushes on it. I don't know, because it's progressively gotten worse to the point this last trip we couldn't close the lid, and I'll show you what I have to do. One more close-up of that gap where it looks almost like this frame rail is pulling out. Interestingly enough though, my tailgate is doesn't have the gapping, so it's definitely on the camper side. I want to show you this too. This is a pretty good little system. It's easy to put together in the dark, and they definitely have some weather holdovers, but they have these buckles and that's what hooks onto the lid. Let me show you the other buckle. So this buckle, you can see from me pulling on it, it stressed it and it started to stretch wide, because what you're trying to do is pull the lid over this piece, and the whole lid shifted. Notice how I'm tearing this thing down really easily. It really is a sweet camper that way. Just in the dark, I can deploy this thing and close it down myself. It's really a nice little camper that way. We've really enjoyed sleeping in it, but got to figure out the problems and how do you keep these from stressing and pushing outward. Let me show you that I have a good functioning tailgate, and I'm going to show you that the gapping on my tailgate's good. You can see we're good there, and you can see we're good there. So my tailgate's fully functioning. So to me, it seems like this piece is canting out or stretching out, and it almost doesn't look like it's at a full 90. Hard to see that maybe in the video. By the way, this is the perfect ladder for this this setup. I'll climb up on the ladder, get on the tailgate, then lift in the truck and walk right up onto the bed. Really like this little giant. They did a good job with it. So when you go to pull it down, this is not a complaint, but 2 straps are better than 1, because what do you do if this thing breaks? So that's one question I have. And then I've got to go tuck the tent in, and that's just part of the process. But you'll see when the latches go up, they're not going to be perfectly centered to this piece here. So it's this lid that won't hop over the track, and it's like off just by the width of the material. It just needs a little bit more tolerance in the lid. If it was just a little wider, or if this was just a little bit skinnier or canted in, we wouldn't be having the problems we're having. Now I've got to get the tent tucked in. I still have one buckle I'm gonna have to put my tie down straps in just to make it down the road to go see if they can show me how to repair it. So the way you gotta close these campers is you just grab your material and just pull it down in like that, and just keep it tucked over as you close it. And then you can see even here there's just a slight little bit of a gap, so I'll have to set this on here just partially so you have a little bit of give, and then you tuck the other side in, and then you come back and tuck this side in, and it's not hard to tuck it in. But you can also, so there's my solution. We just run the tie downs all the way down, hook them in here. Okay, time for a little update video. We went up to Harker. They replaced my door sills. They gave me some advice on what I can use to clean up this paint. I'm going to use this kit after we sand that with some 180 grit. And this thing is for resealing things like that, like axles and trailer hitches, and that should match the color. So I didn't know it, but I guess my locks were broken, so they replaced them. And those actually feel pretty nice. Anyhow, they did give me some extra door seal for this, and then what we came to the conclusion of on the inside of the rail is to put L-track down it, because I was going to add some options instead of a bracket. But you can see they put a bed platform support on both sides just in case the bed is to try to wedge down. Plus you've got L-track here now too, that'll stop it. And you can see that, whoops, we've got these little D-clips. So this isn't what they recommended, but for me, and safety wise and wanting that, so where I've been camping has really cold weather at night and hot in the day, and that's been contributing to the problem. But I'll just run a tie down here at night before I go to bed, and that'll keep everything sucked in, so it'll just be sucked together, so that's not going to blow out on me. And then we talked a little bit about the water leakage, and the recommendation on these Tundras is to just get up in there and get some silicone and seal it from the inside and the out, because there's just not a perfect seam up in there, so you got to do a little bit of handiwork yourself. So all in all, pretty good day. You know, we got the rust addressed. I know how to fix it. I'm out of warranty, so that one's going to be on me. They fixed up my back latch doors by changing out the latches. They worked on the door sill. They actually stretched and bent the frame back into place, and essentially now with these upgrades I shouldn't have any problem with the bed support, and the L-track being able to keep it locked together should be a really solid camper for the years to come. So I'm excited. I was a little bit worried about it, but I went down there and they took care of me. I know there's some other people on YouTube, I've seen them complaining, and that's just not been my experience. They've been a good company to work with, and I appreciate that.